Welcome to PredWings podcast, where Smashville and Hockeytown collide. And now your hosts, Rhett and Ron White and D-Law, Dan Lawless.
Welcome to PredWings podcast, episode 104, and we're finally back. It's been a heck of a couple weeks for me and Ron, and
yeah, tell me about it.
Before we get into this, our social media is PredWings podcast on Facebook and Instagram, X, and YouTube. We're at PredWings Pod. And you can also listen to us in Boss on Podbean, and our email is PredWingsPodcast@gmail.com. But I know one of us was sick, and it probably should have been me, judging by how I've been playing lately.
Let's hear about it. Break it down.
Oh boy. So our winter season kicked off Thursday. The last few seasons, we've actually started with a win. Started 1-0, and it didn't finish all that good. But well, it started off pretty bad this week, or last week actually, last Thursday. It was another loss. I think it was like 6-4 or something like that. So once again, I was just absolutely just terrible. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know what's going on. 6 goals is just not acceptable in any league.
Man.
And I don't know. I mean, well, to look on the positive side, we started 0-1, so hey, maybe we'll reverse that from usually. We usually start 1-0 and end up trash in the season. So maybe it'll be the reverse this season. But
you're pulling at strings here. I don't think I certainly don't think the way you start a season as a team reflects your individual play, but we can do that.
Well, it does for me and the Predators, because I mean, I look just as bad as the Preds goalie.
Well, you want to roll into it? Want to just roll right into your recap?
well, I know this is a couple weeks ago, but the Preds were on their little road trip. They had Winnipeg. I don't even think they showed up. 3-0 loss. Pathetic game. And then they roll. It was a back-to-back. New Year's Eve at Minnesota. Another pathetic performance. They end up losing 5-3. This game, Zach LaRue gets kicked out for a slew foot that wasn't really a slew foot. They called him for a slew foot, got him kicked, and threw him out of the game. And I believe the Jets scored at least one on that power play. I don't know how they can call a slew foot. Probably should have been a penalty. I mean, it was a hit. I mean, a trip. But he didn't even. I mean, his leg wasn't. He did not. It was not a slew foot. Like, I don't think Marchand's ever done that. But I can't think of any players have right off the top of the head that did the slew foot. But he ended up with 3 games for that. So he was out for the rest of his road trip. It was a 4-game road trip. Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg. I don't know. To me, it was not a penalty. I mean, it was not a slew foot. Not.
I mean, he's got a little bit of an edge to him. I mean, he's been suspended several times down in the JHL.
Yeah, but that was his first in the NHL.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, the kid plays with a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that, but I kind of don't. And then now he's going to be labeled as a dirty player because of this incident. And I don't know. So, I mean, I just more same old. I mean, maybe they need to fire their coach. I don't know. So they had a couple days off before they moved to Vancouver, and they actually played pretty good. They ended up with a 3-0 shutout against Vancouver, and Vancouver's at the time they were playing pretty good. And then they had another back-to-back coming, back from Vancouver to Calgary, and that's not the ideal back-to-back. I mean, Vancouver, Seattle, or so one of those, Edmonton, Calgary would be a decent back-to-back, but Vancouver and Calgary are a little far away. I mean, I believe the announcer said we're talking about it was like a 2-hour flight or something. But they ended up winning that game surprisingly, 4-1. But then they went back to Winnipeg, and another bad loss. I mean, they weren't even in the game. 5-2 final, tough, just to blow. I mean, they scored 2 goals, but it might as well have been 5-0 because Winnipeg it was like a whole different. It was like a college team playing a pee-wee team. It was that bad.
Well, I've watched a couple of the games here, and one of the observations that I have, D-Law, is that they have no net presence. None, ever. Nobody is ever in front of the net. So even if there is a big, juicy rebound, you just don't have a guy there.
Well, look at the players they got. I mean, other than Marchessault is about the only one that really goes to the front. Forsberg sometimes, but O'Reilly can, but I don't know. He's been injured a couple of games, but Stamkos, he'll never go to the net. He likes the Ovechkin area.
Yeah, but you knew that when you got him. That is his.
Yeah, but I guess they need Nyquist. He used to go to the net, but I don't know. Now he's getting older. I don't know. But I mean,
when did he used to go to the net?
When he was with Detroit, or didn't he? Oh, I always thought
He always tried to. He would be around the net, but he was never that net presence person. Like
not like a Holmstrom.
No, or even like an O'Reilly or Rasmussen.
But I mean, O'Reilly, he's a center too. He's a big guy. I know he's been injured. He could just come back, but I would like to see him go to the net a lot more, especially with the line he's on. But I mean, Marchessault and Yossi missed a couple games too, but he's back. But Marchessault has been on a little bit of a tear. I mean, he's been putting up some goals. Forsberg, he hasn't been scoring the last couple of games he has, but finally he was on a really bad, I can't remember the exact number, but he was on a pretty serious goal drought, but he's had a lot of assists, so he's getting points, and he's actually, at last check, he was leading the team in points. But and then they had, so that Winnipeg was their final road trip, or final game of that road trip, and they had 3 days off, and then just this past Saturday, they returned home to play Washington, who's been pretty hot lately, and they actually, the first part, I just saw a little bit of it. I wasn't able to see the whole game. but they played pretty decent. They actually had the game tied, and then they let a guy he's a rookie. I can't remember his name. Hold on real quick. I believe he played in Hershey. Ethan Frank scores. Actually, that was his first goal of the game. The first goal of the season. I don't think it was his first NHL goal. But he broke the tie 2-1, and then they just like the Preds just fell apart after that. And then they let Ovechkin score an empty net goal. So that he gets his 20th on his chase to Gretzky, but another loss, and I don't know. I don't know what Trotz is doing. I mean, he probably doesn't want to fire Bruno. I don't think he hired him. Look at all the teams that have fired coaches and look what they've done. I hate to see him go, but I don't know if he's to blame, but the coach always is the scapegoat, because unless they trade players, but he's already said he's not trading Stamkos, because there's a lot of rumors about that. I don't think he traded Yossi. He's actually got third on the team with points with 28. Forsberg actually is leading the team in points with 35. And Marchessault has got 31 now. And he's actually leading, I believe he's leading the team. 14 goals. And Stamkos has 12. And O'Reilly has 12. And Phil Forsberg at 11. And those are the only 4 players in double digits scoring. And that's all great if you're putting up 30, 40, 50 goals like some other teams. But a team like the Predators, they need balanced scoring, and that's not balanced scoring. I mean, you can argue 4 guys, but that's not really balanced. 4 guys is not, to me, that's not balanced. That's basically one line and an extra. You got 2 centers of those four. And then after Forsberg's 11 goals, the next one is Yossi, a defenseman with 8, and then Nyquist has 7. So, I mean, where is the secondary scoring? And that's probably where the Predators are at. Why they're at the bottom, and it just I don't. It's just frustrating, and I don't know. I watch them, and I actually turned the game off. I believe it was the Winnipeg game I was watching,
Got and the bag over your face.
No, I just turned it off, and I actually turned the Red Wings on. It was a lot more exciting game, and I know that's. I don't know. I mean,
I've been there.
I say it's just like the same. My recaps, the last few weeks or more all season long, and the Predators aren't even in a rebuild. I mean, I just
should be.
I don't. I mean, I like these players, but I mean,
your coach isn't getting what he should be out of these.
I mean. I like Bruno, but maybe it's time to say goodbye to him. I mean, you obviously can't fire the whole team. I mean, I suppose you could just trade everybody away, because that's probably what's going to happen at the trade deadline.
Right. I mean, depending on if they decide to finally get after it.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it hurts. You trade these players away, like Lankinen. I mean, actually, the Predators did beat Lankinen, in Janot, and all these players that are really succeeding now, and then you got players.
I wouldn't necessarily say like Janot is like succeeding.
Well,
he's doing exactly what he hasn't changed a bit.
I wouldn't mind having what he's got in Nashville right now. I mean,
you probably wouldn't.
At least he and he has grit. And I mean, I was going to say this for some of the NHL news stories, but what he did, the Kings had a player score his first NHL goal, Andre Lee, not Anders, and the Anders guy from the Oilers. It's kid's name is Andre Lee, and it was a beautiful goal. I mean, most first NHL goals are just kind of crappy goals that they just in front and hip. He actually went bar down, and Jeannot got the puck from the ref. So I mean, it's just it's Jeannot, talking about Jeannot, and it's that kind of actions. I mean, not only can he produce on the ice, he's that kind of a player, and I just don't know. I mean, the Predators did have called up a couple of players. I know, Lou got suspended for 3 games, and he, they did call up a couple of young players, but I don't know. I mean, is it time to trade Saros? Because he really hasn't looked good in 2 or 3 of those losses, in my opinion, and I just don't know. But I mean, I could just keep going on, and it's the same thing every week talking about the Predators. And I thought they turned the corner and played good. And the thing was, the other night they were playing really good, but they weren't getting the bounces, and they actually had, I think Marchessault leads the league in post hits with 7. And it seems kind of low, but it just, you can argue they're not getting the bounces, but you have to make your bounce. You have to make your chances. You can't just
certainly got to create opportunity.
Yeah, and just I don't know. It's just something's got to happen. They get that 2-game win streak, and you think, oh, maybe they can go on a streak, and then they pull a couple losses. And I mean, the schedule. But I mean, you can't even complain about the schedule, because it's basically the same schedule every year, just different order. You got the same teams basically. So I mean, you just got to play through it, and I better just stop right here and let you go on with your wings, because at least something's positive out of this. And
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just kind of piggyback. I guess I'll kind of start my recaps with a synopsis, and then I'll just quickly go through them. But to kind of piggyback off what you said, D-Law, is getting getting a couple of wins and just rolling with it. As we know, Detroit's on a 7-game win streak right now. Detroit's playing some of the best hockey that I've seen them play in a long time. The nice thing is they're having fun. Now, when I watched the Nashville game, I didn't see that. I didn't get that feeling. The guys were out there doing what Detroit was doing. They were just out there going through the motions, just hoping, they were out there to collect a paycheck. That was it. Nothing more, nothing less. Collect your paycheck, go home. We lost, oh well. No passion, no enthusiasm. And I'm sure I'll get bashed, and oh yeah, they're trying their hardest, they're the best out there. But you're getting beat down constantly. The Red Wings getting beat down constantly. In the Lalonde era, I like Newsy, but he just did not have these guys playing like McClellan does. McClellan is like the Dan Campbell of the Red Wings. He came in and pretty much made it very basic. We're going to go out there and play the effing game you've been playing for your whole life. Just go out there and play it. And that's exactly what they've been doing. My week starts off with a 4-2 win against the Penguins. And it was a good game. Detroit looked confident. They kept pace with Pittsburgh the entire game. That's one thing I've talked about in past shows, is they just have been outpaced.
but they had a good pace. Showtime gets a goal, and Dylan Larkin, he got an empty netter. But Berggren gets his 5th of the season this game. And this is a kid who had we had talked about it. Remember talking about Jonathan Berggren while I mentioned his name? He was one of the guys in Grand Rapids that was like, hey, listen, I'm getting antsy down here. You bring me up or I'm out. So Detroit had to find a way to get him some ice time up here. So he's got to kind of put up or shut up at this point. And he's definitely playing a better game. He's not afraid to go in. He's not afraid to take the extra little hits. He's not afraid to get in the dirty areas. Like, he's really starting to come along, and I'm liking what he's bringing. So I'm just hoping that he doesn't become, and this is no shade, but like a Justin Abdicator, who came up. He had high hopes for him. Obviously not like an Ovechkin level, but a star level, and then they just don't end up amounting to anything, if that makes any sense. And like, I don't know, like, but anyways, Detroit's playing some good hockey. I don't want to, downplay that. But yeah, so we had Pittsburgh, and then we move into Columbus, where again. Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say, and I actually watched this game, and I know it was in Columbus, and there was a lot of Detroit fans in there in the stadium. A lot more red and white than Columbus colors.
Yeah, Detroit has a good following. I think that if we can keep this win streak going, it's going to get pretty exciting in Detroit. But Detroit goes into Columbus. I didn't have too high hopes because Detroit, excuse me, has troubled with Columbus. And right off the bat, James Van Riemsdyk, I can't talk. James Van Riemsdyk comes in and scores a power play goal, of course, and they get the 1-0 lead. And I was a little worried at that point, but then shortly after, Kaner from DeBrincat and Kopp, gets the equalizer, and then it was just all Detroit from there. And I don't want to say it was all Detroit from there, because the second period Detroit struggled a little bit. First period it was all Detroit.
Yeah, I believe it was
in DeBrincat. But Tortorella's running a good squad over here.
Yeah, but I believe it was Columbus that had the too many player penalty. It was early. It was a really bad. That was a bad penalty, and it was especially against the Detroit power play. That was really turned the page. I think it was because of their new coach McClellan. If I'm saying his name right, McClellan. Yeah. And yeah, early in the game, did Detroit score before? Did they had scored before that? Because it was before that penalty. Because I know it was really early, and it was just a real.
The exciting part comes at the end.
Yeah, it was
where Detroit got they challenged a call, and it was decided that Detroit was incorrect. So Detroit got a penalty. Jonathan Berggren goes into the box. Well, just as penalty expires, it was one of those classic jumps out of the box, and the puck is right there for a breakaway. Yeah. And I believe
that
freaking nice shot, and that was it.
I believe the defense. I think the defense. I don't remember who it was, but I believe he was that smart play. I believe he knew that Berggren was about ready to jump out, so he put the puck up there to where right up towards the penalty box, kind of right where, kind of judging. He knew the penalty was about over, and he put it up there where he kind of figured out where he would be when he comes out of the box. So it looked like it was just happened to be the puck was there when he come out, but I think it was more of a great
Yeah,
headsy
yeah.
play, but I don't remember what
Yeah, of
defense
course.
it was.
That's Tyler Mott actually dumped it down to Berggren. But yeah, that's I mean, that's exactly what happened. I mean, the puck didn't just levitate over to
Well, yeah,
Berggren.
but I mean, a lot of times, the pucks, they're just clearing and all that, and
Oh no,
they're
this was
on
a
a penalty
planned out of
kill,
the
and
box thing
teams are,
too.
and
Yeah.
he knew he was smart that he knew the penalty was about over, and he threw it up there because he knew he would time it so as soon as he'd jump out, the puck would be there. That kind of
That's
that
right.
just
And then
that's
moving
just
into Winnipeg, this is a game I pegged Detroit losing for sure. I had them like not even coming close in this game. I thought this was going to be the humbling moment in the recent successes, like a one trick pony. You go out, you win a few games, and then all of a sudden you lose a few games. Then you lose a lot more than you win. So Detroit goes out to Winnipeg, and Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond, first 2 goals, both on the power play. It's nice to see our special teams doing something. It has been a struggle. It has been terrible, but we're starting to wake up. And again, watching this game, the boys are out here having fun. It looks like they're playing the game with some enjoyment. And the intensity that they're playing with now is definitely Todd McClellan. Like he is certainly coming in. He has changed the culture of the team. The guys are more upbeat. Their pressers sound better, and they want to play for this guy. And he's only been there 8 games, but DeBrincat and Larkin, he gets another goal in the night. So it was actually a 3-point night for Raymond. But again, Detroit's doing what they should be doing. The guys, they're putting guys in the slot. Michael Rasmussen, man, I can't talk tonight. He's getting himself available, right in front of the goalie. They're making guys work to get the puck out of the zone. It's no easy breakouts anymore. That's one thing I've noticed is that Detroit just doesn't back down and go straight defensive mode. They force you to break that puck out of the zone. It's not going to be easy. So Detroit's got their opponents moving all game long. Detroit's also been doing much better on the faceoffs. He won 58.7% of the faceoffs. We'll get into that and why that's important here. Actually, let's see. I think it's going to be right now.
Oh yeah, against Ottawa.
Let's see. Was it Ottawa?
The next game is Ottawa, the 7th. That's a Detroit home game. Coming back from the road trip, and just briefly, the Wings Winnipeg game was like in between the two Preds Winnipeg games. Not that they weren't right back to back, but
yeah, this game here, I'm going to make it quick here.
I saw part of this game too, and
it was a great game. I mean, it was a great game, and
it
was back and forth. It was a back and forth game. Larkin, he's got a 17th goal this season this game. But a stat that I want to point out again is 55.6% on the faceoffs. They are extremely, extremely important, especially at the end of a game like this. So Detroit takes this game into overtime, and
just briefly before this was also, I mean, there was a home game, and it was a Patrick Kane bobblehead night, and I'll let you just finish.
Yeah, so it was his bobblehead night, and the cool thing was also his kids were there for the event, and there's a video of him coming out after warm-ups, and his son's standing there with a little stick. He's giving him a hug, and he goes, "Hey, don't take too many bobbleheads." He goes, I only took, counting on his fingers, 2. It's like, all right, don't take any more than that. So, something I want to get into later, and I'm going to briefly touch now, is these guys have lives. Like, these guys are people. Like, we watch them for entertainment, but
they're humans behind the scenes. Like they're just they're in a different class. They have a different lifestyle, but they're people. But anyways, Patrick Kane bobblehead night. 55.6% of face-off wins. We go to overtime. Face-off in the Ottawa zone. Dylan Larkin wins the face-off. Right to Patrick Kane's stick. And showtime. Lights, camera, and that was it. Kane closes out the game. Detroit wins it 3-2, and McClellan keeps the train rolling.
And his celebration at that overtime goal was the exact same pose as his bobblehead.
Yeah. That's what he does.
Well, that's his patented celebration anyway, but I just thought it was fitting.
Yep. So Detroit has another home game against Chicago. And, this game was a little bit closer than I wanted it to be. But Detroit, again, they played well. 54.5% in the face-off dot. But Detroit is finding ways to score goals. Lucas Raymond, he's got his 17th. Alex DeBrincat, he got his 18th. Let's see here. Casper, he's now got his third on the season. First-year rookie. He's playing pretty good. He brings more. See, the thing about Casper, I want to switch gears here. Detroit wins the game 5-3. It was against Chicago. Yeah, we're a little bit of a rival, but whatever. Detroit had 28 shots on goal. But I want to talk about Marco Casper. And the reason I want to talk about him is, yes, I get this was an empty net goal. But it was still a goal. But he's bringing so much more to the game. As a young player, he's not afraid to get dirty. He goes into the corner. He's not afraid to get hit. He's not a fighter. He's not feisty. He's just not afraid. And it's really reflecting in his game. And I really think that he's a guy that McClellan is going to thrive with, because I think McClellan can light a fire under a guy like Marco Casper. So I'm interested to see what he'll do with a good full season under McClellan, and I think we'll get there. But yeah, Detroit keeps winning. 6 games. Detroit beat Chicago. Now we got to go into the Kraken's game today. Now this game, yeah, I don't know what happened. Detroit just couldn't not score. And who starts off the scoring for Detroit? Marco Casper. He's getting it from Larkin and Raymond. I mean, the kid's playing great. DeBrincat gets his 19th. Showtime gets his 10th. Larkin gets his 18th. I mean, everybody was scoring today. It was 6-2. It was an absolute blowout. McClellan has these guys. Now, watching this game, the guys were flying around the ice. They were in the right spots at the right times. They were playing their position. They were on top of the opponent. Nobody was breaking out of the zone. And everybody that needed to produce, produced. And this is what happens. A 6-2 blowout of the Seattle Kraken. But, I got to go back, because not everything, I mean, you can't put everything on, the score. Like, yeah, you got to score goals. But Cam Talbot had a freaking awesome, Alex Lyon's out. So it's, we got Husso and Talbot. So Talbot's going to be riding the ship here for a little bit while Lyon's out. I think Husso is possibly, there's grumblings of him being in a trade to get some, I think it'll be good for him. I think it'll be good for him to go out. But Cam Talbot, he played very well. We can't undermine that. So, it's just something to keep in mind. Well, they had 33 shots on goal. He made 31 saves. I'll take it. Everybody's firing on all cylinders with this team right now, and it's exciting to watch. And I'm on board. I'm on board. He's got my attention. I'm excited about hockey again. I'm done doubting Steve Yzerman at the moment.
And even if they don't make the playoffs, this is exciting stuff.
Playoffs?
This is,
Don't talk about playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
but you gotta think about this, D-Law. Detroit's making a push. They're making a point. Now, again, I keep referring to Dan Campbell, but you look at what Dan Campbell's done in 3 years. It's tremendous. And I know hockey's a little bit different. It takes a little bit longer to grow. But within a few games, he's put together, I think this is their longest winning streak of the season. At 7 games. So I'm on board. I think the guys are having fun. I think this is going to keep going. Let's bring on 8. Let's go.
Yeah, and they're actually only 2 points behind Columbus for a wild card spot. There's 2 wild cards, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, there's 3 points behind Boston and 2 points behind Columbus. So, and that Columbus victory, that was a huge victory to get that. So, they're right there. I mean, there's still a long way to go. So, and yeah, you are correct as far as the 7 game. That's the longest win streak of the season for them.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Let me see what the prior. Just real quick, I'll look it up while you keep going on. What the prior win streak was before that.
But I think we got something to be excited about in Detroit. I'm not a Pistons fan, but I heard that they're looking good, and I'm excited for the Tigers. So it's an exciting time to be a Detroit fan.
Well, you got the Lions too.
Oh yeah, oh of course, that goes without saying. Which I never thought I would say that in my life, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You got the Lions and Commanders next week. That'll be a fun game.
Previously, before the 7 game win streak, the longest win streak was 3 games.
3 games?
So, yeah.
Yeah, that
3.
sounds right.
It was back in October.
Pathetic.
So, no, not as pathetic as the Predators, but I kind of touched on Ovechkin. He had to empty that goal against the Predators. They kind of gave it to him because don't know why they pulled the goalie. I mean, I know they didn't do it. They pulled him with like 3 minutes left, and it was just. And as soon as they pulled the goalie, Ovechkin was out there, and the Capitals were all trying to get the puck to Ovechkin. So I just think the Preds were maybe trying to get him the goal because he up to the point he had no goals, but he's got 873 now, so he's got 22 to get the record. 23 tie. And I see a stat. He had played the Predators game. I believe it was including that game. He's played 1,453 games, and Gretzky had played 1,487. So it's going to be close. He might actually do it in less games played. But moving on. And this is probably old news, but some key players in IR for teams. Shesterkin, who just signed that big contract.
Yeah.
He's on IR. Letang. He's not on the Penguins. Is he still on the Penguins? Oh God, I don't remember where he's still on the Penguins. Mm-hmm. I thought he got moved. Well, he's on IR, and then Bortuzzo, who's on. I think he's on one of the Western Conference teams. I don't remember where, but he's on IR now too. But I think that's basically all the key injuries that I've seen. As far as fines and suspensions, we talked about the LaRue one, Hamilton, and that we talked about embellishment the last few weeks. He was fined $2,000 for embellishment. Bennett was fined. So they're, other than the LaRue suspension, they're all just fines. Bennett, he was fined $5,000. What did he do? roughing. He roughed up O'Connor of the Penguins. He must be a younger
You see
player.
Max Domi's elbow on Hathaway?
He didn't get fined, but Cousins, he was
Wait, did you not
fined.
hear what I just said about Max Domi? Did you already talk about him?
I don't see that on the list.
Yeah, January 5th when he got Hathaway. Came right across, caught him with an elbow right in the jaw. But, yeah, Max Domi
He
got a $5,000 fine on January 6th for his elbowing incident on Garnet Hathaway.
because that's not listed on here for some reason.
Definitely happened.
Hmm.
I saw it. Brutal.
Okay.
I mean, brutally obvious. It wasn't like Hathaway got up and
Okay. So other than the 3 fines, and of course we talked about the liver suspension. That's it for that. What else we got going on?
hot topic for next week.
Yeah, I got kind of maybe a little teaser.
Yeah, throw a teaser out.
Sports betting is, it's become a huge thing now. It's even they've even took over the naming rights of the sports networks. So we'll be talking about that next week. We'll kind of really dive down into it. I got some research done on it. I want to do a few more, and so have a nice little topic for next week. So if you're listening to this, maybe you want to join us live next week. But let's kind of see real quick. The PredWings 10. I got a couple surprises this week just because they're playing really hot. Vegas has still got it at number 1. I got Dallas. Well, they're kind of surprised. They were on my list before, but they re-entered. They're on a 7-game win streak. I got them at number 2. I got Detroit number 3 because they're on a 7-game win streak and they're playing really well with the new coach and playing. They're really a lot. It's like night and day compared to what they were before the old coach and Blashill or not Blashill. I'm going news. Yeah, I'm going 2 coaches back. So then I got Minnesota at 4. The Kings, they're playing really good, but I got them actually dropping a couple slots at 5 because of Dallas and Detroit. And then I got Columbus coming in. They were playing really good till Detroit beat them. And then I got Washington, Florida, Colorado, Edmonton rounding out the top 10. And that leaves Winnipeg, Toronto, Boston dropping out. But, they're still right there. They're probably 11, 12, and 13 probably. And then I know the team of the week, I know I got them in the top 10, but there really wasn't anyone sticking out. I had to go with Detroit, even though I got them at 3. We'll see if they stay at 3. But between them and Dallas with the 7-game win streak, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of, I agree with Vegas. I think my second has probably got to be Washington, and then Winnipeg. They just lost to Detroit. Probably Minnesota. I'm going to drop Toronto down out of the 5th. Put them down probably behind New Jersey. They've dropped their last 2. Then I'll probably go Edmonton. They're starting to pick things up again. Dallas, I dropped them down. I think I'll go Carolina. And then I think I'm going to throw Detroit as number 10. I think Detroit's playing pretty good right now.
I actually had them at 10 on mine, but then I'm looking at some of these other teams, and there's been kind of a lot of teams that are kind of struggling. Other than Dallas is as of late. I mean, Toronto's. I mean, they're still good. The last 10, but Florida, they're inconsistent. they're 5-4-1, and I had just had to move Detroit up, just because Montreal. They probably could have been my team of the week. They're playing really well. They're 7-2-1. They're actually tied with Detroit and Pittsburgh with 44 points. So, Winnipeg, even though they're 6-2-2, one of those two losses was against Detroit. But it just, I mean, Colorado, they're 7-2-1, even though they just lost one. They're actually leading the wild card. They're actually tied with LA, even though, because they're not in the Pacific Division. Otherwise, and they're only 2 points behind Dallas for the third in the division. And so, everybody, and I like the Predators fan pages. A lot of negativity, but there's a lot of positivity. There's a couple people saying they're still going to make the playoffs, and they're 20 points behind. Actually, 22 points behind third in the division. I don't see that happening. They'd have to go on like a 20-game win streak, and that's like record. They're going to be fighting for the number one draft pick, in my opinion. So I mean, I love the positivity by these people, but I just but I don't want to get any more. I've talked about the Predators enough for tonight. Other than that, before we get in the weekly picks, just really quick, Admirals haven't really been paying attention. I really need to start paying more attention to them. They're coming off a 3-game losing streak after beating the Grand Rapids in early January. So I guess they're kind of following suit of the Predators. And I assume you probably the same way with the Griffins, as far as I'm with my, I'm not really paying attention.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm not even paying attention to NHL. I don't know what the heck's going on in any AHL. So it just, I'm really out of the loop on as far as that. But as far as the weekly picks, well, I got a 4-game win streak going on for the Preds. That's a positive note, but that's probably because I picked some losses. I got Minnesota, Vancouver, Calgary, and Winnipeg correct. Actually, yeah. Oh wait, no, the Washington one I got wrong because I picked a win. So actually, that was an incorrect for that. And then you got Minnesota, Vancouver wrong, and you got the next 3 correct. So you got Calgary, Winnipeg, Washington correct. So that leaves. So you pulled ahead of me. You're 23-22 on the Preds side. So on the Wings side, we both got Pittsburgh right. I was right on Columbus. You were wrong. I was wrong on Winnipeg. You were right. We both got Ottawa correct. I was correct on Chicago. You were incorrect. And we both got Seattle correct. So I believe we are now tied at 26. So, I mean, I still got a chance on the Preds side. I'm the only one behind, even though I was ahead. And I'm tied now with the Detroit. So, I guess we can roll into this week's picks. Let's start with Detroit.
You want to start with me?
Yeah, it looks like the 14th against San Jose. That is tomorrow night. Actually, Tuesday.
I'm riding.
Tuesday.
I'm going win, and then we're gonna march to Florida, and we're gonna win there too.
And then
that's the bottom line, because Todd McClellan said so.
and then the 18th is on Saturday, so that was at Tampa Bay.
We're gonna lose that one. We're not
And
gonna ride it that long.
and then the 19th is next Sunday against at Dallas, so they got a back-to-back. So you want to do that one too? Yeah, that's a Sunday one.
I'm gonna go with a win on that.
And
Gut check that night.
so I'm gonna go with a win against San Jose, and I know it's crazy. It's at Florida. Florida's been kind of inconsistent, but I just have a feeling Florida's they're gonna end the streak. I'm sorry, but maybe I'm wrong. But I'm gonna call that one a loss, and then at Tampa Bay. I'm going to call that one a win for Detroit, and then at Dallas, that's going to be a battle. I mean, it could very well be teams that are, got the win streak intact. But I think, oh God, that's a tough one at Dallas. It's at Dallas. Oh God, I think I'm going to go with a win though, for that one. So that leaves us with the Preds.
Yeah.
The 14th, that's Tuesday night, same day as the Wings have San Jose. The Preds are on a homestand. They're on a 5-game homestand. They dropped the first one. Vegas, I'm probably going to regret it, but I'm going to go with a win. Chicago, they're going to blow that one. Minnesota, they're going to lose that one. And that should be it for me for this week. The 21st is next Tuesday. So, yeah. So, Vegas, Chicago, and Minnesota all at home. Win, loss, loss.
I'm going to go a loss to Vegas, a win against Chicago, and a loss to Minnesota.
Okay. And, you wanted to, before we end, you were going to talk about or did you already do that?
I kind of hinted at it.
About players off ice.
How like and this goes for any sport. But these guys, most of them have families. They have people they go home to. Some of them are married. Some of them are engaged. Some of them just have girlfriends. It all depends on who you are and what you're going, or if you're, what's his name there, Yarmer Yager. But there was a video, and I can't remember who it was. Who's Duchesne, Douchey, whatever you call him, Ducey.
Oh yeah, Duchesne. Yeah, Douche. Yeah, he's on Dallas now.
Yeah, his kids watching him. His kids watching. And I think it was a milestone goal, if I'm not mistaken. But it was a cute video, like the kids running around watching his dad, and all of a sudden you see him go on the breakaway, and the kid's watching. He takes a shot and he scores, and the kid's all excited. He's like, "Oh, Dad scored! Dad scored!" Like, he was just so excited about it, and it just made me think, like, some of you guys might hate him because he didn't produce for you guys.
He was really good with the Predators. I'm not mad at him. I still like him. It was a fail by the Predators general managers. I believe it was Poyle at the time.
Yeah,
I remember it was Trust, but it was just they had to let him go. But I still like him. I mean, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for his success. I know it's kind of stings that he's playing on Dallas, a division rival, but
of course. Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, and that was my whole point to it is, while we're sitting here bashing somebody, hating them, wanting them to get smashed in the face and beat up and crushed into the boards, like they're going home to little kids. And I get it. Like, everyone always has that argument. Like, well, they're getting paid a lot of money to do this, and
not just
change the fact, like, their love and their willingness to want to spend time with their kid and provide them with a good situation.
I mean, you see it more in the NHL, but it goes for, I mean, football. You don't really see a lot of that in football. You maybe a little, but I think
They
baseball.
don't show it as much.
I think baseball, you see a lot of it, like hockey, and well, I don't know
think
about
hockey. I think
basketball.
hockey.
I don't watch basketball, so I don't not sure about that.
And I would say that football isn't, because I mean, there's kids like Stafford's brought his kids around and stuff, but like it's just not televised or publicized like it is in the NHL. Like they'll show it during games, and you just don't see that much with these guys. You'll see the players like at a football camp or at a hospital for kids or something like that, but.
And there is it was Saturday night. You know, the Predators they return home against Washington, and Vinny Hinostroza, he's 30 years old, so he's been around a little bit. The Predators actually posted a picture of social media. He went up to the glass and kissed his daughter. It was kind of cute. He posted on
cool.
He posted on social media, but he kissed the glass right on and with his daughter. It was right up to the glass. So it was cute to see that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we sit here and we get entertainment out of it, and we get enjoyment out of it. They're going home to somebody. So just a friendly reminder to keep it classy. Unlike that Philadelphia fan punching the Toronto fans. But did you see that, by the way?
No, I don't. They always do that kind of stuff, so it's not like
they do.
But it's something that's just I didn't
like wide open shot, and both of them just kind of like, you can tell they're a little like taken back, but it was comical because dude, you had a wide open shot and you could have knocked him in the next week. And you totally botched it.
Well, we just
like a girl. We'll say it that way.
Well, we talk about the game and we get all worked up, and we just sit back and think, and it's their job. I'm just like everybody gets up and goes to job. It's the best job in the world, really.
I mean.
They might not think so at times, but it's also a lot of work to keep. It's not just like playing games. I mean, every day of the year, even in the off season, they're working their butt off to keep this job. It's something that I can say that I don't have to work nearly that hard for my job. In fact, I don't have to work at all, really. I mean, I don't,
just show up and do what you got to do.
Yeah, and these people, they're just in the weight room, and not only that, the physical aspect, the mental, the preparation, watching videos, breaking down videos, constantly studying is just, and I'm not even in that, I just what I've heard. I mean, I would love to just spend a day with these athletes and see what they actually go through, and maybe stop being so critical. And that might I just mentioned for next week our hot topic, and that might kind of lead into that a little bit, but.
Good.
That's all I have for this week. I don't know if you want to add any more.
Nope, I've added my little tidbits there.
That's all I got for this week. Our social media, once again, is PredWings Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and on YouTube and X, we're at PredWings Pod. And you can always follow us and listen to us on Podbean and join us on our live shows. And our email is PredWingsPodcast@gmail.com. So once again, thanks for tuning in to the PredWings Podcast.
Good night, Hockey Town.
See ya, Smashville.